usually have a moderator, but I'm a moderator.
You're a moderator.
I'm a moderator. I totally forgot to thank John Kloss for this space, and he's not here right now, but I'm thanking him on camera, and I'll thank
John
him later.
Kloss. Good applause, wherever he is.
Take pictures. Woo! Yeah, it was
Document.
perfect. I was looking for a great space to have a screening about this size, and met him, and he was like, "Hey, we've got a great screening room," and we worked it out so that we could afford it, and he helped us out a lot. So,
And thanks to David for the free wine and snacks.
yes,
David
that's
Dustin.
awesome. You guys can sit if you want.
Make yourselves comfortable. Lay down.
So hopefully people have questions. Eric, is there anything that you want to share first about your style or how you came up with this idea? Or what you...
Well, the original concept started when I grew up with Brandon, actually, in the film. He's from Leon Valley, Texas, which is a suburb of San Antonio. So we grew up together, and he moved out here and to pursue acting, and I moved out here to pursue screenwriting, then eventually directing, and he's basically the only person I knew out here. I started hanging out with him and all his actor friends, and we would go out. We would go out and you know, be out till like 1, 2, 3 in the morning, and part of me wanted to go home because I was tired, but then I was kind of fascinated by observing these people, how they didn't seem to want to go home. You know, they seemed to be having fun, even though it was 2 or 3 in the morning, and most of everyone in the city was home. So I started wondering, what do they do when they go home? Well, do they have anything to look forward to, or do they have any reason to go home, or you know? So that's how it started, and then I started asking some people, and you know, and that's where the original concept came up.
Eric didn't mention the part where he'd asked me to take him to, you know, what are you doing tonight? I'm going to a party. I'd take him to the parties where all the actors were, and he would always, I'd introduce him to people and try to get him into conversations, and he would eventually sit in the corner of the party, just watch everybody. Like, that's the kind of, that director's eye he has. People would say, what's up with your friend? He's kind of weird, he's just kind of quietly sitting in the corner. I'm like, well, that's what he likes to do. So he would just watch and observe people, and then he'd be like, can we go now? I'm like, no, I'm still going to hang out for long.
This is like 2 or 3 in the morning at this
Well, I
point.
was his ride, so he couldn't go home, so he had to just sit there and watch people. And so he's always observing,
Has this film screened anywhere else outside of Los Angeles? Yeah.
We had an initial screening about a little over a year ago, New Beverly Cinema. It was a midnight screening. And then we had similar to this in NoHo Theater in North Hollywood.
But otherwise, just small, like, individual people have taken it out,
Sure.
you know, and shared. I had a little mini screening at Sundance this year. And I know David.
There's a private screening in Chicago and got really good feedback there. So,
But we haven't submitted this film yet to any festivals, which we're going to, you know, pretty soon. And over the course of last year, I finished this film in end of 2006. I spent the year of 2006 doing this film, editing it, edited myself, and then I went on. And last year, I filmed another film called Jealous, and in the meantime, through Tanaya's urging me, I did a re-edit of the film, and so all that audition footage that you see at the beginning, that's all new footage than what people would have seen at the New Beverly Cinema way back when. So tonight is the first time that this is like, you know, this cut, and with that new footage.
Any other questions?
Question for Brandon. How close was that character to your actual life?
He asked how close that character is to my life, and I would say that character was very, very close to Eric's life. Before,
But like I said, you know, when we used to go to these parties, you know, that were ending, you know, I usually was with Brandon. He was, you know, my ride, and he was the one who was kind of stalling because he couldn't leave without getting some girl's number, or you know, or having to get that one last hookup. So that was another part of the reason why at 2 o'clock ended up being 4 o'clock, and it was not only him, but it was everyone. Everyone was kind of like vying for that that last almost like that hookup. It was kind of like that.
Some of the desperation is what I've experienced, but I'm a nice guy and I don't use people. Although I had a funny experience as far as people seeing the movie. A lot of people saw the movie like at Eric's apartment or different little like people showing the DVD to each other, and I don't really know who's all seen it. But I was at one of Tanaya's parties a few months ago. One of her friends I'd never met before was like, "You look familiar. I feel like I've seen you before." And I'm like, "I don't think I've met you." After like 5 minutes, she goes, "Oh, you're that guy in the movie. I don't like you. You're creepy." I'm like, "No, it's not me. It's the guy with the facial hair."
Different guy.
It's good facial hair though.
Thank you. That was Eric's design. Eric drew me like a drawing of the facial hair he wanted me to have, so I grew.
But I mean, the character Rhino Pistol is, there's some of it's based on Brandon, some of it's based on a lot of other guys, a lot of my other guy friends, just guys kind of in general who, just. I've observed that a lot.
I did base the part about bragging about all the skills I had as a writer and an artist and an actor on a friend of mine from college who would say he was jack of all trades, master of none, and he was a musician, he was an actor, he was a writer, but nothing he did was really good. He just did a lot of things. So I did borrow that from him.
Also, we want to mention that Tamlin's here too in the back.
Yes.
If there is a question for Tamlin, he would love to answer that.
I'd love to.
Go ahead.
What is the Tamlin's character based on? Who wrote that character? Who was that based on?
Well, it was my idea. He at one point added the fact that he should have a daughter, so I thought that was interesting. So we used that. He just once again Tamlin. Well, as far as the reality TV thing, I was thinking of 5 actors. I've been trying to. You don't want to make them all the same, so I thought that it would be interesting to see a person who had that some kind of fame or like your 1 minute of fame through reality TV and how they are out here, and so that was something that I came up with.
And for anyone who doesn't know, this was mostly improvised.
Yeah.
And all of the actors worked with Eric to develop our characters before he threw us into various situations.
I do. I like the improvisational style directing, but a lot of the voiceover and stuff. I wrote most of the voiceover stuff that you hear. So.